Um, okay. So we'll call the meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. on Tuesday, August 11th, 2020. Let me take a roll of members present. Paul Wolf.
Here.
Kevin Kuster.
Here.
And for staff, Kathy Flynn.
Present.
Okay. At this point, I read the script, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So as a preliminary matter, this is Chris Young, Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Paul Wolf.
Here.
Kevin Kuster.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Kathy Flynn.
Present.
Are there any anticipated speakers on the agenda present?
Just for the applicant for 11 Industry Road, but.
Okay.
Well,
I'll get that. So good morning. This open meeting of the HDC Sign Advisory Committee is conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the SAC is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking, and please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Okay, so can we adopt our agenda?
So move.
Second by Kevin, would you like to second? I think you're muted.
Second.
All right, thanks. All in favor, Paul?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And the chair,
Aye.
aye. We've adopted our agenda. There are no minutes to approve.
No.
Is anybody here for public comment? Seeing no one, we will go to the first item on the agenda, which is Island Gas LLC, 11 Industry Road.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may, David McDougall is on the phone.
Okay.
David, can you hear us?
Testing.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Great. Thank you very much.
So can
All right.
everybody see his application on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
And so reviewing it, I just will say that as we scroll down, it is a freestanding sign in that it's on two posts, separated 3 feet apart, 4 feet high, and it's about a 6 square foot sign that is between the two posts. And so, David, I would ask it, you've applied under public information sign, but public information signs would apply to sort of nonprofit entities, town organizations and such that are informing the public of something other than advertising a location of a business. So I think that
Sure. Yeah.
would be the first hurdle to kind of reclassify this as a freestanding sign application.
And I totally understand. The reason why we went in the direction of the public information sign is because I'm not sure if you have a chance to visit the site, but it really is ultimately, when construction is complete, it's going to be more of a complex than a single structure. Right now, there's an office building that's in place, but to the left of the office building is going to be an auto garage and a number of storage facilities. And then further to the left of that is the tank storage that was kind of built in conjunction with the town with the ultimate goal of getting these types of storage out of the downtown and public spaces. And so in looking at the understanding that freestanding signs are not an option, in looking at the other signs down Industry Road and further down Bunker Road, after studying the sign book, the option that we best came up with was the public information sign. The line in the public information sign really that stuck out to us was the used by public services, or used for a public service, and there are a number of public services that we offer. We are the town's kind of go-to service for pointing people for disposing of propane tanks. So if you are a individual taking your grill tank to the landfill, they direct you to us. We also, in purchasing the land with help from the town, we were required to build enough storage actually to support the island if in case there was a extended shutdown, extended period of time where the ferries couldn't get to and from. So really, our thoughts in attempting to do a public information sign is we're really just concerned of people getting lost out there. There's really only other than the VFW and community sailing and Strang, which was Miles Reese, there's really no reason for anyone to go out that direction. So we thought that this might be a way to delineate, give people good information exactly where they've arrived and where they're going, and that they're in the right place.
Okay. Is the fence that's there now, that chain link fence, is that the permanent fence that'll be there when construction's complete?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to yield over to the other board members just to get some reactions from them. So Kevin, would you like to weigh in?
Yeah, I think it would be a stretch for us to classify this as public information, and we would be opening up a lot of people making public information claims. I don't dispute that this is a big complex and all that, but I think there's ways to identify it without it being a freestanding sign. Perhaps something on one of the buildings that's facing the road with a smaller sign on the fence, or even getting this sign on the fence. I think that anything to avoid a freestanding sign. I know there's not much out there, but we could end up with a whole lot more if we let this one through.
Yeah. Paul?
I would agree with that, except that the existing sign, I mean, if it went on a fence or on the building, has too much stuff on it. I think the hours,
Right.
we generally don't have addresses, phone numbers, and subsidiaries when we're open and closed on signs. On the other
Right.
And if I may just, yeah, if I may comment on the information, a facility like this, we are required by the state of Massachusetts to list certain information. We store flammable materials, and so if that type of information is not on this sign, it will have to be on another, to the left or to the right, just as a requirement from the state, and due to the amount of flammable materials that we store there. So we need to have an emergency number listed so that somebody can call us 24/7 if anything were to happen. I'm flexible and happy to take that off of this sign, and just putting it out there that it will need to be displayed elsewhere next to the flammable, you know, the hazmat signs. Yeah.
Okay. And I think I would agree with what both Kevin and Paul said. I think that putting something, that building that's in the photograph is an ideal place to put a sign, you know, a wall sign that would identify the location, so that I think putting the Island Energy Services up on that wall, even above the gable, the second floor windows, for example, if you were to put a quarter board type sign up there, would certainly identify the location. And then near the gate, you could put something on the fence that's smaller, but enlisted hours and contact information would be, I think, a better solution and more in keeping with the guidelines. The guidelines do specifically prohibit phone numbers and hours of operation, but in your case, understanding that, you know, just like banks want to be able to list their hours of operation, there are certain instances where it makes sense to allow that. So, but putting it in a more discreet, or, you know, a location close to the gate where somebody would be actually, you know, arriving and needing that information would be helpful, and keeping in the guidelines. I don't know. I just kind of threw out a suggestion. Does that sound like a good one to you guys, Paul and Kevin? Kevin?
Yeah.
Quick question,
Yeah.
Chris or
Yeah.
David. Is the entrance, if I were going to that building where that white truck is? And
So there are actually three. So where that white truck is, right, that white van directly ahead and to the right is the entrance to the customer service, you know, the office, which is that building on the right there. If that white van were to continue going straight, it would go into what will eventually be, you know, a vehicle storage and garage area. And then straight into the left is where all the fuel is stored. I think the mouse is hovering over propane storage there, which is actually buried in the ground. And then further back are the island's entire resources for gasoline, diesel fuel, and heating oil. And then further down the road is, you know, the driveway is a one-way, and further down the road, there's actually another entrance where we are allowing 18-wheelers that come over on the boat and maybe get stuck here overnight. In the back left corner of the lot, we have a parking area that we use and we offer up for large trucks to sit overnight if they need to.
okay, so where the white truck is in the picture is where the public would be going if they were coming to drop out the gas tank.
Yes, sir.
To me, that would be an ideal location to put all your details about the hours and the emergency phone number on the fence there, and then put the sign as Chris suggested on the building. That's my thought.
Yeah. Is that something, David, that you would want to, this sign application basically could be just revised and,
Yeah.
you know, turned into a wall sign application. And it would be, you know, basically to comply with the guidelines, the best thing would be to have it, you know, be as succinct as possible. So Island Energy Services, for example, being sort of the identifying factor. I don't know if
Absolutely.
how you feel about that, but putting that on a rectangular wall sign that could be up on that gable of the building would be a good
How does
alternative.
I'm completely happy to take this and revise it and with recommendations and bring it back to the next one. If you don't mind my asking the group, another fear, especially of mine, I don't know about anybody else in the business, this move to this new building is going to be the first time that some of these small businesses, Harbor Fuel, Yates Gas, and the offices of the airport, the offices of the company that runs the gas stations on the island. This is really going to be the first iteration of those businesses being together, and I know my fear is that in trying to direct customers and direct the public to our new location, my reason for including their names on the sign was, again, to assist the public in, reassuring people that they're in the right place. You drove all the way out here, and yes, this is the Harbor Fuel office. This is where you can have assistance. Is that something that might be able to stay? If I were to take away phone numbers and office hours, would there be some option for us to inform people that they are at the location of Harbor Fuel, that they have arrived at the Yates Gas office?
I think it would depend on the design of the sign. I'm speaking personally. I kind of feel like airport gas, because that's really sort of in my mind, and I could be wrong, it's more of just a retail outlet, which isn't necessarily tied with this location, even though it might be the main office. So if it was Harbor Fuel and Yates Gas and you wanted to try to combine those, I think personally it would just want to be done in such a way that didn't appear to be listing a bunch of brands on a sign.
Sure. Yeah, tasteful. Sure.
Kevin, how do you feel about that?
I understand the concern. I think you could accomplish it perhaps at the, closer to the entrance on that smaller sign. There needs to be some kind of hierarchy, which they have on this sign. It's just, that would be too much to put on a building, and I think would be confusing to people. But
yeah, I kind of agree.
It sort of becomes like a multi-tenant sign on a gate in a way.
I can understand that.
Right.
Well, sometimes we get 2 or 3 people want to rent a store, so we end up with a bunch of people all wanting the same size sign, and gets to be a lot.
Yeah, Paul, how do you feel?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
I think it is. I do think it is important to be able to identify the companies because they recently merged and people don't know that.
Right. Yeah. So if that could be accomplished on the fence sign, that would be ideal, I think.
Okay.
I think I think on the as far as how the sign looks and so forth, I think it looks great. It's simple enough, black and white, and I think just kind of massaging what goes on the smaller sign and what goes on the building. I think what you're hearing is we're trying to really not have any freestanding signs. So
totally understand. Yeah, that's great advice, and I'm happy to take another stab at it and come back.
Kathy, can I see the application, Kathy, quickly?
Yes.
Before we leave?
Yes.
We didn't really talk about the material, painted and lettering. Okay, all right.
looks good.
Materials are good. So, yeah. All right, David. So why don't, as a board, why don't we make a motion to hold for revisions?
So moved.
All right. Kevin, would you like to second that?
Second.
All right, Paul, are you in favor?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And the chair is aye. So thank you, David. We'll just table this for the next round of revisions you submit.
Absolutely. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank
All
you,
right,
David.
thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay. The next applicants, are they is there something 8 and 10 Hannah with the same applicant? Are they
Yeah,
tied together? Or-
Sherry emailed me last night and I told her how to get on a meeting and she's not here at the moment. But they're two separate buildings.
Okay,
I don't know if you wanted to look at them anyway. One is for
Sure.
Mac Davis and the other one is for Handy Events, David Handy. So
How did you figure it was two buildings?
she told me, and that's what she submitted. I wasn't here last week, so I didn't really get to
Yeah,
review this, but so that's 10 and that's 8. I told her they somehow couldn't get a good picture from the street, so I don't know why. So that's 10. But they have the sign here, and then maybe because there are work trucks in the way, and then Mac Davis. But
yeah. I'm having a real hard time understanding where
right,
what the front of the building looks like and
right.
how this
Yeah.
thing works. I don't mind
Yeah.
the signs, but I don't know if that's where it looks like they're each going between windows in
Yeah.
the parking lot. But
So here's Hannah. Yeah, 8 and 10. So, and they're showing that it's
so there's no building on the site plan the way it looks.
there's a
think-
well, I think the trucks are in the way, so she can't get a great shot of it.
I feel
Then
like
why
this
would you
should be
want to
held
put a
for,
sign? Well,
That's my sense anyway. So see that she has it right here, and then for 10, she has it right here. So just to give you an idea.
I think we should request better documentation of where these are going relative to the front door, the elevations of the building. This is
Yeah, it's not clear.
too vague.
Okay.
And relative to
Right.
each other too. I'm not sure how that, but anyway. So why don't, should we hold for representation?
or
And
further
maybe-
information, either one.
And with a request for more information. Okay, so that's a motion, Kevin?
Yes,
Paul, you want a second?
Second.
All right, Kevin, you're in favor?
aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I am aye. So that'll be for both applicants, 8 and 10.
All right.
We have enforcement, but then we also have for open discussion on proliferation of signs. Kathy, why don't we turn the enforcement discussion over to you first?
Okay.
Or are we still?
Yeah, Paul had sent me an email, but that's kind of, I think, with going in, no, that's not actually going into the second discussion. But if you wanted to,
Well,
if you wanted to talk about this at all.
yeah.
Well,
Why
it
don't we?
comes in with this proliferation of signs.
Right. So
So
basically, the enforcement at the moment, there hasn't been any for the summer. We've kind of put it on hold. That's correct, right?
yeah,
Nobody's-
I didn't have time to copy the order from the emergency order 11 as it relates to restaurants and businesses affected by COVID-19. But I did speak with the deputy director of planning yesterday, Leslie, and she had informed me that, because I had a complaint about a lot of clutter downtown, a lot of retail clothes racks on the sidewalks. And I did mention to her, and she had informed me that the select board was kind of not really enforcing it unless it became problematic due to the crisis, due to the pandemic. So I can tell you that these kind of signs are waived right now. And it was made clear at the select board's meeting, waived until at least November. I don't know how long it will be in this situation, hopefully not next year. So things of this nature are waived. These
Can I
are
ask
all,
a question?
sure,
Kathy, why would those two signs that say patio be waived?
because it's a way to identify and help the merchants and help the restaurants bring in customers. So they're not requiring any sign or minor building alteration HTC COAs at this time. So
Okay,
this
once-
falls into that
once-
category.
Once the temperature drops 20 degrees, this will take care of itself, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
So it's as far as, I mean, I've watched some of the select board meetings and they had said November. This might run into stroll now. It's kind of a moving target, as we all know. So just to prepare you for right now.
okay. I looked at this one as not related to the COVIS, as it was a.
Yeah.
All
So
right, the other one,
that's,
since you're on that subject, the other one is from the Maury people.
which one is
I
that?
think it's blatantly taking advantage of.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Well, you do have a topic for discussion at some stage regarding real estate signs and also construction signs. If you wanted to
I think
revisit that, we could.
that's right there. Back up.
Right there. Oh, okay.
That to
Yeah.
me is a blatant violation of the intent to get people to wear masks.
Yeah.
And it's an advertising for the Maury people.
Yeah.
I think we should ask them to take it down.
Does it say that on the sign? I'm just curious. I can't read the text there, but
It says, do the task, wear a mask.
yeah, and then, join the more.
Join the Maury people,
Yeah.
helping to keep Nantucket safe.
Yeah, got it. I was trying to read that lower text.
So if I may, real quickly, I did mention this to Leslie, things like this.
Yep.
And she suggested if you would prefer, if you would like to go before the commission and discuss this further, because these are all pandemic related. So I just wanted to make you aware that she probably suggested if you wanted to go before the commissioners and say that and discuss it, it's a problem and how they might want to deal with it. I don't know about like this sign right here. If this is a banner that the town put up, this is town property. As I'm going through, these are all pandemic related. This is not, but she said,
yeah, I don't understand what that's all about.
yeah, I would have to.
Trying to
I
hide
mean,
the
it's
building.
like we want to dress up an eyesore.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I don't know who did it, if it was from the town offices or someone that thought it might look nicer than nothing there. They might not be aware, or it might be, not really priority for them to address it right now. But I can reach out about that one. But things like this, that's freedom of speech. That's freedom of speech. We can't touch that really. But the other pandemic, the proliferation of them, like this is a graduate from 2020. It was pandemic related. Yet it's not in the emergency order, but if it's continuing to be a problem, like I said before, Leslie suggested going before the commission and discussing it with them.
What about the Go Whalers?
Yeah,
Right.
things, yeah, is
They're
that,
all over town.
was that the one with the, a lot of these are repeats, sorry. I just took all your emails and saved them.
Well,
Yeah, the graduating class had those flag
that?
banners.
Yeah,
No, it's more like the one that you saw, I think, on the sports field, if you scroll up.
They put them up at football games and things like that. There you go.
Yeah, that one.
yeah,
That's
I
the
mean,
entrance to Pine Valley off of Bartlett.
yeah.
Right. And
You know,
so
It's
that was
just,
just,
I just think they're getting out of control.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's one thing, there's one, regarding the pandemic, the other is to kind of take that and
Well,
use
can
another phrase.
Kathy, can I ask a question related to the pandemic? Some of the signs around were distributed by Tom McCann. Do you know Tom McCann?
Mhm.
He's got a giant one in front of his house on the corner of Milk Street and Hummock Pond Road.
Mhm.
And he's got two of them here at Marine Home Center. When I asked where they come from, they said, oh, he came in and said the town okayed them. And then they're all over the town now. And they're pandemic related, but you know what? It's a,
Right, so that's why I was suggesting maybe you go before the commissioners and if you feel it's necessary to go before the select board and kind of rein it in.
Or do you think, should we go before the commissioners and request that HDC sends a letter to the select board saying something to the effect of, you know, we have to have a deadline when this all returns to normal, if it's November, if it's going to be stroll, whatever the
Right.
select board votes, but with the understanding that enforcement will be a priority just to sort of reset the
Right,
gap. I think
yeah,
it could be a little bit of a political quagmire to end up in the paper fighting, Tom McCann or anybody about
right,
trying to be vigilant to flattening the curve. I just feel like the most important thing is that we know the guidelines are going to be enforced at some point once things are quote unquote back to normal.
right,
And I agree with you, Paul and Kevin, that these things are eyesores and you drive around and it's just one after another, but I don't know how successful we're going to be or how we're going to look in the public's eye if people start saying that we're out to, hurt businesses or discourage safe practices, and who knows
Right.
who knows how
And-
it's been.
and Mr. Chair, if I may, like not everybody watches the select board meetings. I do, just because even before I started this position, I've always found town government fascinating. And, Don, who used to be a former chair of the HDC, did say that, they were temporary enforcement, but that's just a statement at a meeting. Not everybody is aware of that. So I think that is a good idea to bring it before the commission and maybe have some kind of formal discussion where you can maybe put a letter in the paper or something when the time comes.
Right, and maybe even asking the paper, because the paper did, write an article about the political signs and how that they were exempt and things like that. Maybe we could encourage them to write an article about the fact that, the HDC is allowing this on a temporary basis, and town will return to its past glory, so to speak.
Right.
I don't know if there's just a way to take control of the spin before.
Right. So the chair is away this week, but I can definitely run it by him and we can put it on an agenda. So if one of you would like to represent, or if all you want to do attend the meeting, I would just need to post it, that you were doing a joint meeting with the HDC to discuss it. For the future, if that's agreeable or amenable with all of you.
it's a good idea.
Yeah, I would like that.
Can I ask two questions? Kathy, where did the census signs come from? Do we know?
The town, yeah, and those, yeah, so that's another one, yeah. I didn't,
When does the census have to be
I'm
done?
sorry?
When does the census have to be done?
I'm not quite sure. I think by the end of,
Maybe October?
I think it's August or September. It's soon.
Maybe they should
I
go
know that
away.
they're going around knocking on doors now, but I don't know when it's completed. There's here, taking it doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
The other thing I just wanted to mention to everybody to think about is, I understand we don't have the ability to control some of these signs because they're political or what have you. But can we have the right to determine how long they plan to leave them up, what the locations are going to be, what the design is going to be, and what the purpose is? There's some out there that don't even know what the purpose is. And I would think, even though we can't deny the sign, if we could control them a little bit. I'd like to know how long, for example, the the one from the African Meeting House. How long do they plan to leave it up? And when they're gonna take it down?
So, Mr. Chair, through you, if I may, those are all freedom of speech. We can't really touch those, all
Will they
those
leave it up
signs.
forever?
It's freedom of speech. There was something mentioned on, municipalities challenging that through the state legislature or federal legislature on the sign council's website that that I informed you about.
Mhm.
He did mention a case that a municipality tried to remove signs, and so that's where that stems from. So they can't touch those at all. Census signs I can find out about.
Well, it was just a general question. I
Yeah,
don't think I want you
yeah.
to do, I'm not asking you to do anything.
right.
For us to all think about what we can and can't control.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's, they kind of started to pop up, and now every organization is seeing it as an opportunity, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Originally, it was Surfside.
The horse is under the barn.
Yeah. It is a little scary to imagine that the streets will just be littered with political statements. But that's the country we live in, I suppose.
Well, let's not give up, Chris.
I'm not giving up, but I don't know that we want to, I don't know how we pull them out of the ground. I would love to, but I'm not sure if that's something that is in our court. Okay, well, so can we, addressing just sort of the reset button, and maybe this goes to these freedom of speech signs as well. There's nothing to say that we can't reach out with a very polite letter that just, I don't know if this is a political hand grenade or not, but, to organizations like Surfside Crossing, the African Meeting House, anybody else, and just say, we're trying to do our best to, we have to really craft it well. Try to do our best to preserve the island's streetscapes. Is there any way we could engage in a conversation? I don't know, something like that. Something that if it was published in the paper, it wouldn't make us look like we were trying to stomp on the First Amendment.
I kind of think that, I don't disagree with anything we've been talking about. However, I kind of feel like we should just put the pause button on until after the season. I know that I've heard several times Amy Baxter publicly talk about the umbrellas and some of that sort of stuff as being temporary, telling people it's temporary when they get their license, that it's not going to be allowed in the future. So I think there's a consciousness towards that. But I think the, emotional state of everybody right now is a little wonky. And I know I was talking to one of the Surfside honchos and suggested they cool it on the signs, and I was told that if they get a letter, they're just going to double down. So I think people are kind of in a mood to just say, screw you, I'm going to do what I want. So I think we would do ourselves more favor if we just kind of let it slide. I hate doing that, but just let it slide. And, come October, November, kind of start to see where we're at. That's kind of where I'm at. I think that we risk kind of barking up the wrong tree, as my mother used to say. So that's kind of where I'm at. I guess I'm not for a full kind of get in their face right now, just kind of watch it and document it. I'm not real happy. The other thing we were touching on here is I'm not real happy about the way our description on this is on the town website.
Yes.
I think that just sets up more controversy. I mean, when you say things like we don't like signs, I mean, that we're not in the business of liking them or not. We're trying to make them appropriate or not. So I don't know. That's kind of, and I think from Kadim's response last week, it sounds like Libby doesn't really give a shit about that. So I don't know if that's worth pushing on or not. I did tell Ray and sent it to him. He was not aware that that was done. I think it's inappropriate for any town official to write about any board commission what their position is on something.
Right.
That's, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like somebody should get back to Ray so the board knows why that was done. And maybe, Kathy, you have a little better explanation, but I think the idea of somebody just saying stuff without even asking anybody on our board or the full board is not appropriate. And it doesn't make it right to me because town council said it's okay. That's just his opinion to me. So that's all. I don't know what we do with it, but.
All right. Well, Kathy, is there a process we can go through to just have that modified? I mean, is there, who maintains that site? Can we just update it?
Well, that goes through, we do have a public relations, that's not her title, but she's in charge of all the website information, but I have to go through them and I wouldn't be able to override that. I would have to discuss that with Andrew or Leslie first, and I can get back to you on that. I don't know if it's something that you would want to go through the HDC as well.
I'd be willing to, I don't think it's a rush, but I'd be willing to take a shot at rewriting something that we could put on for next week's meeting.
Okay.
And then I think if we just say, if we don't give them something as an alternative, they're just going to see it as more work they have to do and ignore it. So.
Right. And would you want the commission to approve it with your recommendation?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. And then send it over. So if,
what, I could also just one quick thing. I could also mention in there the fact about getting things back to normal.
Yeah.
And maybe try to accomplish both things a little bit.
Yeah. Why don't you do that, and then I can arrange a time maybe after next week or the week after, to put you on the HTC agenda to discuss that, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that if that's okay with everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be great. I don't know that we need a motion for that. Why don't we just
Do it.
keep
You can just note it in the minutes that I'm going to write a response for the board to approve.
Perfect. And then Kathy, if we could keep this on the agenda for next meeting as well.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
then I think by then we'll be able to also, Kathy, when I get that done in advance or towards the end of the week, maybe you could send that. I'll send it to you and you could send it out to Mark and Ben so they get a chance to see it too.
Yeah, send it to me first, and then I'll disperse it amongst the commission or the council members.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Sure.
All right. Second that, Kevin?
Second.
All right. Paul, are you in favor?
Yes.
All right, Kevin?
Aye.
I am as well. Thank you, guys.
Hi, you
Yeah,
guys.
thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Stay well.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.